it's me, Miss Cooney. Welcome back to another video lesson, and today we're going to be doing some more RE. So let's get ready for RE with Miss Cooney. So last week in RE we learnt all about the Jewish harvest festival Sukkot, and we learnt that synagogues often build a community sukkah or hut. Now there were 3 important rules for building a sukkah. Can anyone remember them? Well done. So, rule number 1, there has to be 3 walls. Rule number 2 was that the roof had to be made from something grown, so branches or leaves. Number 3 is that we had to be able to see the stars through the roof. And you guys created some fabulous sukkahs, so well done. Today in RE we're going to be learning all about the Jewish festival Passover, or Pesach in Hebrew. So the first thing I think that we need to know is, why is it called Passover? And to find that out, I am going to tell you a story. The story that we are going to look at first of all is the story of Moses. Now, you may remember this story before because I know that you've heard it in previous years. So listen out and see if you can hear why it's called Passover. Moses was a farmer, and one day he was in the desert when he saw a burning bush with the voice of God.
Moses, help my people out of slavery and lead them to the promised land. You must go back to Egypt and ask the Pharaoh to set all of the Israelites free.
So Moses went back to the Pharaoh in Egypt and asked him to let the Israelites free.
Please, Pharaoh, let my people go. No, never. Get back to work.
God was angry that the Pharaoh did not listen to him, so sent down great plagues such as locusts, hail, and even frogs over Egypt. But it wasn't until the 10th plague that the Pharaoh changed his mind, and this was because the eldest son in every Egyptian household died. To keep themselves safe, the Israelites painted lamb's blood on their doors so that God and death could pass over them and they would be kept safe. This is why it is called Passover, because God and death passed over the Israelites' houses. To celebrate Passover, the Jewish community eat a special meal called the Seder meal. And within this meal, there's lots of different foods that represent and help to remind the Jewish community of the struggles that the Israelites faced whilst escaping slavery in Egypt. The first item on a Seder plate is a roasted egg, and this is there to represent the strength of the Israelites, the Jewish community's ancestors. And this is because the more you roast an egg, the harder it becomes. The next item is a lamb shank bone, and this is to represent the sacrifice made to God, because when the Jews were escaping and were in the desert, they sacrificed a lamb to thank God. And it also represents the lamb's blood that they put on their doors so that death would pass over them. Horseradish is also on the Seder plate, and this is a bitter tasting food, so it reminds the Jewish people of the bitterness of slavery that their ancestors had to go through. Next on the plate is a paste of wine, nuts and apple called haroset, and this represents the mortar that the Jews used to have to make, but also the sweetness of freedom. Now, when the Israelites were slaves, they would have to make bricks and mortar, and so making this paste reminds the Jews of this mortar that they had to make. But it's also sweet tasting, so it reminds the Jews how sweet the freedom was after their ancestors managed to escape. They also have unleavened bread on the plate, or matzah bread, and this is bread that hasn't risen. And the reason why they have this is because when the Israelites were escaping Egypt, they didn't have time for their bread to rise, so they just ate this bread in the desert. The next thing they had on the plate would be parsley or other green vegetables, and this is to remind the Jews of the hard work that the Israelites would have to do, because these vegetables would have to be pulled out of the ground one by one. There is also salt water on the plate, and this is to represent the tears of the Jewish ancestors, and the green vegetable or herb is often dipped in the salt water as well. And the last thing on the side of the Seder plate is a glass of wine or grape juice for the children. And this is to represent joy, happiness and freedom. A blessing is said over the wine, and this is called Yiddish. For task A, you need to label the Seder plate with all the names of the food using the word mat to help you. For task B, you have all of the food found on a Seder plate and all of the meanings of the food, and you have to try and match the food with the correct meaning. For task C, you have a word mat filled with all of the food and the meanings, and you've got to draw your own Seder plate, label all of the food and write what each of the food represents or means. Good luck Year 3, I'm really looking forward to seeing some more fabulous work all about Passover. Keep up the great work, bye!